Hello, welcome to another GoldMine 101, our regular series of short presentations giving you hints and tips for getting the most out of GoldMine CRM. So artificial intelligence, AI, is transforming many CRM systems out there, allowing them to automate repetitive tasks and provide intelligent recommendations. Now, while GoldMine may not have all those flashy chatbots, bells and whistles, and complex learning algorithms, it does have one incredible, powerful, sort of AI-like feature called automated process. You may not be too aware of it. You may have stumbled across it on the menus in the past. So in this session, we're going to take a deeper dive into APs, automated processes, and show you how they work. Got a little example and show you some other examples as well of use on a GoldMine application. So hello, my name is Tim Wilmot, and our company Wizard Systems. Those of you that are on here live, I think most people are familiar with us, but we're a specialist CRM solution provider. We provide solutions like GoldMine. We're not a one product company. We do provide other different CRM solutions as well, but we've done GoldMine an exceptionally long time, and we help out small and mid-sized organizations improve their sales productivity, marketing, customer service through the use of simple and affordable solutions like GoldMine. Now, the audio part of this short call is one way only. You've got a question around this, pop that into the question box on your meeting control panel, and I'll do my best to answer at the end. I'll also give you an update on any GoldMine product news as well. So just a brief mention about Wizard, long-standing provider of CRM solutions like GoldMine, and we provide the product, we provide upgrades, we provide any kind of service around GoldMine, implementation, customization, integration with other apps, a wide range of add-on apps as well that integrate, link with GoldMine, training as well. Training can be at your place, our place, or online, and ongoing support as well. All right, then, automated processes. And let me just dive into a sample, a test GoldMine record. Automated processes. This allows you users to via triggers and actions get things to be done automatically in your GoldMine system based on some kind of rule or criteria. It's a bit like having a robot, a bit like our opening image, a robot assistant inside GoldMine, continually working in the background to enforce best practices, make sure nothing's slipping through the net, and optimize your workflows as well. So it's there 24/7, looking for things to do, records to update, tasks to schedule, and so on. For example, you could create an automated process that automatically assigns leads to a sales rep based on territory, sends introduction emails, schedules follow-up phone calls after a set period of inactivity, or build processes that alert support agents of pending sale, maybe, or sends a thank you email after when you get a sales order. The possibilities are endless. And with a bit of planning, the majority of your repetitive administrative tasks, like organizing data, sending out emails, appointment monitoring, all that sort of behind the scenes stuff, won't need any sort of human input. Now, let me take you through a simple example. Let's imagine we've taken a new sales lead here and we've popped in their details into GoldMine. So this could have been, well, it could have been imported, it could be manually typed in, it could have come in via the web, but new lead. And so pending and history tab, nothing has been done with this lead, nothing outstanding. There's a tab here called processes. This is where you can see these APs that are on the go with this particular contact record. So the processes we create, more on that in a minute, the processes we create, they are attached to a contact record, and we can view the one or many processes on the go right now with this contact record on that processes tab there. All right, so there are a few ways of attaching processes, and it can be done automatically as well. I'm going to, for the purpose of this little demo, I'm going to manually attach this process. So my process example is a very simple one, really, really simple. It's going to send out, it's going to send out a thank you for your inquiry email to the contact. So make sure we've got a valid email address. And secondly, it's going to schedule a follow-up phone call for the salesperson to call them in X number of days. I think it's a couple of days in my example. So I'm going to manually attach it here by attaching a process here. There's a few ways of doing this actually, manually attaching records. And I've got an example process called, it's called a sales lead. So let me just attach this now. And you might have quickly seen the bottom right corner, the email has gone out and a scheduled phone call has been created. Just to prove that, on the history tab, there's the activity faithfully recorded, the email out, there's the text of the email as well. And then on the pending tab, there's a follow-up phone call in a couple of days' time for a salesperson to call them. So a really, really simple example. We can get a lot more sophisticated than that. Let me show you a few examples. So I've got the automated process tab showing here and just a few examples. Maybe, let's imagine we've got a long-term prospect and perhaps we don't have enough hours in the day to keep on top of all of these long-term prospects for a particular product or service. So we can devise a sequence of maybe messages, emails, phone calls that are created for users to go out to that contact. Now, this process here, let me just double click on it to zoom into it. I've just double clicked on it. Here are all of the events. So a process will consist of one or many events. Normally, these events will happen one after the other in a sequential direction. Now, there are two types of events in automated processes. Now, this is not what we're doing here. Is not meant to be an in-depth training session. I'm just giving you the basics of automated processes. So there are two types of events. There are preemptive events and sequential events. Now, preemptive, that's the intelligent bit. That's the intelligence we need to think up to get GoldMine to think every time it runs through the system, every time it scans itself looking for things to do. These preemptive events are the intelligent. They are checking for something. So, for example, if this was a long-term prospect process, if we'd sold something to this customer, they're now an active customer. Quite plainly, we don't want to send them any offending prospecty type emails, or we don't want someone to phone them asking them whether they want to order now, because we've got the order already. So these preemptive events, they are checking for things going on. And in this example, they're checking for whether we've actually got a customer. Let me just zoom into this little event here. So this is a preemptive event that's checking to see whether this person is a customer. So there's a condition here. I can go in and I can, honestly, there's not a lot of coding to be done. This is such a simple little expression to create, but checking whether that person is a customer. And if yes, then what we'll do is remove the process. So each event consists of a trigger and an action. There's a trigger condition and an action. So the trigger condition is what has changed in the GoldMine system? What data has changed? What activity is being recorded? What activity has been scheduled? What detail record has been created? So here are all of the parts of GoldMine that we can monitor. These are all the things that we can look at for some particular activity or type of record. If that is true, if the trigger thing is true, then the action will take place. What do we want to take place? Well, in this example, I've got remove process. So this this long-term sales prospect process will be removed from the contact record. They won't be checked again. They won't be getting any offending emails. So we remove the process. But there are loads of other actions that you could create as part of this event. We've got email messages, self-explanatory. You create the email template in GoldMine. You can pick and choose which email will go out based on this, based on the trigger condition being true. Run a report, schedule an activity, a phone call, a task for a user in a certain number of days' time. Creating a history, keeping a history up to date, creating a detail record, use detail records for things. Add them to a group, maybe for some future mailing process. Update a field, update any of the contact fields in the database to make sure you've got the data integrity 100%. Remove process, add a new process. Now this is quite powerful here. This is where we can branch out, rather like a flow chart, rather like the roots of a tree. We can branch out into other things, which may, maybe there's a customer process. So maybe they become a customer, and rather than end the story, end the process, end the things that are going on, maybe we want them to go over to a customer care process. So step number one, we might welcome them with a thank you email for their order. Maybe 30 days after that, we actually schedule a phone call to them just to double check everything's okay. Maybe 30 days after that, so 60 days after the original sale, maybe we ask them for referral. Perhaps in our business, we get lots of business through referrals, recommendations. Maybe we want to try and proactively encourage that by using an automated process to prompt us to do that. All right. So, and there's a few other miscellaneous ones there as well. So that's the kind of skeleton. That's the kind of structure of a process. Multiple events. Events are preemptive or sequential. Sequential, one happening after another. But these preemptive events, they're always going to be checked, and you can have quite a few of those, I can promise you. Yeah, so that's an example of a long-term prospect. Here's one up here, maybe doing a customer survey. Do you do surveys in your business? There is a survey module for IntelliClick as well, to get that data going into custom fields in GoldMine. But again, there's my preemptive events. All right, so there's one there. Well, remove this process if they've already had a survey. We don't want to bombard them with surveys. Well, if they had one in the last 6 months, we don't want to send one again. If, however, we sell something and 6 months and 1 day, then they're going to get the survey email or a link maybe to some kind of survey application. Let me scroll down. Maybe a sales order. So a bit like the one I mentioned before. You get the order, and then thinking about what kind of things would you like to happen automatically to that contact record based on you getting a sales order. So there we are, a few examples there of automated processes. How do they get attached to records, and how does the system sort of work through these processes? Well, the processes can be attached manually or automatically. When you create a new record, the process can be attached to it automatically. So typically that would be a welcome type process or a sales lead type process, and then we use that branching event thing to branch out onto more sophisticated processes if this becomes an active prospect or an active customer. So that process is tabbed there, and you might want to hide this from most users, but certainly the administrators out there will want to see that. And I should say, mentioning administrators, This is very powerful, and it's good practice to make sure that you as a team, you as a company, if you want to really get into this, you have a discussion about what kind of process or procedures you want to implement, and then have one person create those processes. Once they've had a little bit of instruction from us, there generally is no programming, no coding required. It is so simple to create these processes, but you do need to be familiar with the sort of syntax of APs and what I was going through: events, pre-end events, sequential events, triggers, actions, debase conditions, and so on, just to get familiar with that. Once you are familiar, you can then go off and merrily create your processes. And the second thing is you want to thoroughly test them as well. So I've got this test record here, not a proper record, but I'm testing it against that. And you may have a few test records. You may have your colleagues to receive these emails just to make sure they are working before you roll it out. And the other thing that we've got in GoldMine are services. We have covered this in a few 101 sessions, but in services, we've got one of the services that will be checked on automatically here, automated process. This is where you can see here the period, the frequency in which we are going to be scanning the system. So if you don't want it to run on a Sunday, it's not really necessary. You do have little actions to allow you to skip weekends, so that you won't find phone calls or emails being sent out on a weekend. If you want it to go out through your normal weekdays, no problem at all. But this is where server agents is where you can get GoldMine to be scanning itself continuously 24/7 if you want to. So there you are, a quick run through automated processes in GoldMine, a bit like getting a free sales administrator in GoldMine. Really, really powerful to do things automatically for you. Those preemptive events, that's the intelligence bit. That's you need to think about what processes you want to put in GoldMine. Sometimes not all the sort of sales process go through can be easily adapted to GoldMine's automated processes. So just be aware that there might be some things that you've got in mind that may not be possible to do with GoldMine. Usually, well, of course, the data has to be in GoldMine. The data can't really be outside of GoldMine. The data's got to be in GoldMine for it to work on that data and use those triggers and actions. All right, then. Well, as we normally do on our sessions, so it's just a brief intro into automated process. Got any questions around this feature? Let me just check. So question from Trace. How do you automatically assign leads to a salesperson? Very good question. That can be okay, so it can be done easily in GoldMine with a feature called the lookup.ini. Again, we've covered that in a few 101 sessions in the past, but this is like a background file in GoldMine. And if you've got, typically, it's used with, say, a postcode or a location or a market sector. So that might be the way that you allocate a salesperson. So if you put in a new lead and it's a Birmingham postcode, it's going to be allocated to the Birmingham salesperson. In that way, thinking about it, in that way, automated processes then, when automated processes sets up reminders for the Birmingham salesperson to do something to the Birmingham contact, is going to go to the right person and not the Warrington salesperson or another salesperson. So it's a really important part of it. I'm glad you asked that question. So we'd need to know more about the way you do it. But in my experience, most sales teams are, say, by location, and you can go on the UK. I'm assuming you are in the UK. You can go by the UK postcode there, but anything in the GoldMine database, in the GoldMine contact record, could be used to create these rules for allocation. A question from Ollie. We have a warranty on our product and need a reminder to sell the contract before expiry. Can it do that or similar? Yes, so that's really where you are. So so you might have recorded the sale in GoldMine. So in history is a sale record of a certain date. Then the clock is ticking. Maybe you have maybe 90 days before. Sorry, so 9 months after the sale has been made, or maybe 11 months after the sale is made, assuming you're a 12-month warranty, then something has to happen. Perhaps an email goes to the customer. Perhaps a salesperson, the allocated salesperson, needs to contact or call that particular contact. So, so it could be done in history, or maybe the other way of doing it is put something in pending. So you put something in pending, like a reminder, maybe the warranty expiry, and then 30 days, so I'm just using an example of 30 days before the expiry. So 30 days before that pending date, bang, something happens in GoldMine and it triggers one or many actions based on that process. So yes, theoretically it can be done. Might get a little bit more tricky if you've got multiple warranties, but assuming you've just got one main product or contract or something like that, it could be done. So thanks very much. I don't think there's any other questions. Right, let me keep you updated then. As of early Feb 2024, we've got the latest release of GoldMine 2024.1. You've got to have a maintenance contract to access that. Please contact Wizard Systems if you don't have a maintenance contract. And on our GoldMine blog, you will see all of the ins and outs of that release. I shan't bore you with that now, but it's all up there, blow by blow, what's in that release. And it's fairly easy for you to apply that update as well. Or we do have a service to do that if you want us to. Are you happy with the way GoldMine's running for you right now? If you've got some questions or queries, or you think it could be, well, maybe you want to think about using automated processes, contact us at Wizard Systems for a review. It's a free review, and with an online call, we can review your system and check it out and come up with hopefully some recommendations for you to get more out of the product that you've invested in already. So that's me done then on GoldMine Automated Process, the AI of GoldMine. If you've got any suggestions for future topics, please contact us at Wizard Systems. There's our other platforms that we're fairly active on. Contact us at Wizard Systems. Be happy to consider those topics. Thanks for your support, and thanks for those of you that are on here live, sticking through it. And we'll catch up with you on the next event real soon on another GoldMine topic. Thanks very much indeed. Bye-bye.